We came, we saw, we sloshed, discussing our post-OSH recap today in the hangar.
I used to be a well-respected member of the aviation community, and then I started flying to Cirrus, and that changed.
Oh, that was great until the engine quit.
And all of a sudden I see these explosions and these trees exploding.
I'm walking away a better pilot because of this discussion.
Hello, welcome to today's episode of In the Hangar. I'm here with Martin, Brian, Robert, and Josh. And today we're discussing our post-OSH recap, so thanks for coming today.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right, you guys. Well, I've got a whole bunch of questions for you. I know what I experienced, but I want to know what you experienced. So first off, I want to point out that we've got an air show pilot with us who is here, or who is at OSH actually in the air show. We've got an OSH controller with us, and then we've got Brian, of course.
Yes.
I'm going to start with you, Robert, because that is just the coolest thing. Can you tell us what it was like being in the air show?
Yeah, it was ridiculously fun. I've been flying to Oshkosh. Like, the first time I went to Oshkosh, I drove to Oshkosh probably 15 years ago, and been flying there as a private pilot ever since. And this year I got to fly in and fly the air show, and it was ridiculously cool.
That is super cool. You are cool, so.
I'm very lucky I get to fly some fun airplanes.
Yes, all right. So Brian Kelly, you were actually an OSH controller.
That is correct.
All right, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it's a government paid trip, so I am on duty time while I'm there. And you rotate through all the positions. You work tower, you work the departures, you work FISC, you work at Fond du Lac. And it's a team of 4 controllers, and this year I was a team lead. And I had 3 controllers that I worked with, a rookie, a limited, and a veteran. And together, we ensured the safety of the aircraft.
So you said you were at FISC and at Fond du Lac. Are you actually at those locations?
So if you zoom into ForeFlight and you look all the way at the satellite picture, you see it crosses the railroad crosses a road. You go up about 300 feet, and we're on a hill, and we've at a trailer. We've got a radio in front of us with a microphone and 2 spotters, and we're looking out over the railroad tracks, telling you whether you're in line or you're not.
So you are physically at FISC?
Yes.
That is crazy. See, I thought you guys were all up at the towers just watching everybody on the radar, telling people where to go and what to do. No, you're actually there.
Yeah, we're there, and we're looking up with binoculars trying to identify the airplanes by type. And when they're coming in, just one right after another, it's just the simplest things. The high wing, the one with the light in the left wing, the one with the bright with 4 lights, the one with the yellow paint scheme, the low wing, the RV up high, the twin up high. So we go simple, but we try and do, when it gets slower, we try and work on our aircraft recognition skills.
Okay, dispel this rumor for me, because I heard that air traffic controllers at OSH actually get to use the wands.
It's true.
Oh my gosh, okay.
Believe it or not, it's true. So when you're working in departure position, it's at the runway, and it's separate from the arrival position. That's on a different frequency. So the towers work in the arrivals. They're telling you to start your downwind, turn base, clear to land on the green dot.
So those guys are actually in the tower?
Those guys are in the tower.
Okay.
And so we rotate through all the positions. And so we were in the tower 3 or 4 days this year. And one day you're at each runway, you're at the departure into the runway on basically a hay wagon. We call it the moo cow. And we've got...
Very technical term.
It is. It's a mobile operations communication workstation. Government always has an acronym for everything.
Excellent.
And so we're wearing our pink shirts, so we're easily identifiable. It's got the big sign on it that says monitor. It tells you the frequency you're supposed to monitor right there. And we literally have aviation headsets plugged into some aviation, they're PAC 24s. Same audio panel that's used in a lot of airplanes. And we have a clicker, and there's a transmitter right there, and we talk to airplanes. That's how we know your type right there, or your call sign, because it's on the side of your airplane. We're looking at it. And so at the departure position, there's a couple people on the moo cow, one on each side of the runway, on runway 27, and the ones at the runway have the wands, and they also have a headset on, and they can talk either on the aircraft radio, so they can talk on the same frequency, or they can talk on our coordination frequency, which is totally different.
Okay, very cool. So let's move over to Josh and Brian for a second, because I want to know, did anybody just like randomly walk up to you guys and like just know who you were? Like, hey, you're Josh Flowers.
I randomly walked up to him.
Yes, he did.
And who are you again?
I'm still trying to figure that out, man. That's right, I'll work on that. Oshkosh is like a family reunion for me. That's why I like to go with my dad all the time. I drove my first year to Oshkosh, it was like 7 years ago, and then we drove again this year because we're having airplane maintenance stuff going on. But going up there is like a family reunion. I get to see all my friends and then connect with the followers that follow the channel and follow the videos and stuff. And that's a really good way to give a time and a place for people to come up to me and I can connect with them, talk to them, hear their thoughts, all that kind of stuff. So
Gotcha.
absolutely.
Yeah, I
that
saw you were
happened.
at the Lightspeed tent. I made sure to avoid during that time because I was waiting.
It's a bad time to come text me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was there a couple times throughout the week, AOPA, a couple of other places, but I like to give times and places for people to come chat. I like to shake their hand and say, thanks for the support.
Awesome.
That's what Osh is about for me.
All right.
It does happen, and it's very weird for me. It's probably a lot more common for you, but it happens two ways. One, people will walk up to me and say, hey, are you that guy? And
Yeah.
I kind of gauge them for a little bit before I answer. It's actually almost every time it's someone going, hey, I watched your aerospace video, and that helps me out, which blows me away, because I always feel like when I see people that come up to me and say, hey, are you that guy? I immediately feel like I should apologize, like, I'm sorry, I'm an idiot, whatever. The other thing that happens is I start getting random Facebook messages. Hey, I'm over at the B1, come meet me and say hi or whatever, and that's where I'm like, this person I don't know has found me on social media, and I'm like,
No?
go over. But yeah, probably 3 or 4 times a day I'll bump into someone, and right now it's a very humbling thing. It's like very new to me.
And so it's the same thing for you too, right, Martin?
Yeah, probably a similar experience. People walk up to me, and every now and then it's somebody I've met before, but in most cases it's a complete stranger. I guess after a while you get used to it. You find out where they're from, what they're flying, what they like, maybe what they don't like sometimes. And,
Everyone says the same thing. You're taller in real life than you appear on YouTube. That was when you
Everybody
walked up
says
to me, I
that.
was like,
And one person surprised me by saying, and you look much younger than I imagined. And I wasn't sure if that was a good thing or a bad thing.
And you actually did a charity project this year at Osh.
I did, yes. I did a lot of fun things in Oshkosh. I captured video for about a half dozen projects. I gave some presentations, but the most rewarding thing was the charity project. And Josh and Brian actually were part of it also. We gathered 19 pilots that are well known on either YouTube or Instagram or both, and we made posters with our pictures that we all signed and auctioned off 4 of these posters, and raised over $11,000 in the process for 2 charities. For Fly Girl, they provide scholarships for flight training for young women, and for the Herschel Woody Williams Medal of Honor Foundation, Herschel Woody Williams is a World War II veteran who does a lot of good work for Gold Star families. So that was very exciting.
No, that is exciting. What's even more exciting is that people know who Brian Turner is, and he was considered a...
yeah, thanks for putting me on the poster, man.
Yeah,
I think your signature was at least 5,000 of the 11,000.
I'm sure it was.
definitely. So what would you guys say is the most difficult part of getting into Osh?
Affording an airplane?
Okay.
Having an engine.
Yeah. You've actually flown, you flew in again this year,
This year
didn't
we flew
you?
into Appleton. So my dad and I flew in. It was a lot of fun for me this year to take my dad with me. And we were in the Cirrus with a very, very freshly overhauled engine. So rather than go in on Sunday and deal with all that, we went into Appleton on Wednesday, and it was extremely simple. So we once we did flight following, and once they kicked us off, we're like, all right, get ready. And then it was just like, yeah, you're clear to land.
Yeah.
So it was a non-event.
It's funny because a lot of people give me grief because I actually haven't flown the Wong Warrior into Osh yet. I fly into Watoma, where she's got a weather protected hangar, and then we drive into Oshkosh. And the thing is that, like this year, for example, the weather was so bad that Saturday, Sunday, Monday, the lingering effects of the weather, so nobody was even getting in until Tuesday, I think, is when people actually, the normal arrivals started coming in, and I just kept thinking to myself, man, we would have been in trouble, like we would not have gotten in, but there we were by Saturday night, we got to drive in, so.
Well, that was kind of the same thing my dad and I went through, because we are getting our engine overhauled right now. So the airplane's in the hangar engineless. We drove like 22 and a half hours. Even when we got there on Saturday, the weather was nice, but it was the residual effects of the weather.
Yep.
It was so muddy in the RV camping area. The only reason we got in is because I told the lady that we were just an SUV with 4-wheel drive, and she let us in. And thank goodness we had that SUV, if we were like in one of our pickup trucks, that wouldn't have been doable.
Yeah.
Everybody was getting stuck. And if we were in the airplane, geez.
Oh man,
No way.
you wouldn't have been able to get in.
No.
Yeah, that's the slosh and sloshkosh this year. It was so terrible. And they started finally opening it up, and Brian Kelly can talk a little bit more about this because he was behind the scenes on it. But they would start opening it up the field in phases. It was like nobody's coming in, and then airplanes with Tundra tires, and then lighter aircraft could come in, but no twins or heavy aircraft, et cetera.
So that's all the EAA.
Oh.
They control the grounds. The only thing that the FAA does is control the runways.
I thought you controlled everybody and everything. I feel let down now.
So we pass the message and it gets on the ATIS. So we're in constant communication with the EAA on the parking status and their volunteer status and whether they can go out and marshal airplanes in. And so then we just relay that through the ATIS, and then the EAA also does that through their social feeds.
Awesome. Okay. So let's talk about your best OSH moment. So I really want to know what you guys felt like your best OSH moment was this year. And I'm going to start with Martin.
It was probably the view from the tower. I was fortunate enough to be invited to the tower and bring my camera along, and was allowed 10 minutes up there. I could have spent all day and just enjoyed that view. That was something really, really spectacular.
Yeah, I was spoiled. I got to go up the first year, and I felt very spoiled by it because I don't think I'll ever be able to top that view. Brian Turner.
Probably getting to do it with my dad. He's not as airplane crazy as I am. He's a pilot and he likes to fly and all that, but I kind of had to convince him to go. But once he got up there, he turned into this kind of kid in a candy store looking at planes. It was so cool just to be like, Dad, there's this thing that you don't know about and you need to come. And he's like, all right, I'll go. And then when he got there, he was just like, all right, I'm ready to go back next year. And then this was the first time I'd seen the night fireworks show, which is mind-blowing. I had no idea.
Oh, the T6s, the Aeroshell team.
Yeah.
Oh, they're doing that at night and in IMC because all the smoke. Like night IMC.
You can't even describe what that's like for someone if they haven't seen it. Like I've always heard, night air show, you got to see it. And it's like you get there and like, it's indescribable. It's
And
just
what's up with that nuclear explosion at the end? That
the
was,
best part.
I mean, seriously, awesome. Okay.
For me, so I'm working there basically all but 1 or 2 days. Every day I'm working. The last day I was there, my wife took my 4-year-old Daniel up in the Bell 47 ride from Pioneer while I was in the tower. So he got to point and go, Daddy's tower, Daddy's working. So that was super cool.
That's very cool. All right.
A couple things. As Josh said, it's a family reunion. I get to see people I don't see most of the year, and it's just great to see that whole group again. But for me, you already mentioned it, flying in the air show was
Yeah, that's
first time
pretty
I've
cool.
ever done that, really special. It was pretty cool.
You're one of the coolest people I know now.
Not at all.
Josh? Well, just like what Brian just said here, taking my dad was, for the first time, his first year was 2016, it was the same thing. I had to like tug him to come like, come on, you're really gonna enjoy it. And he was like, it's a long trip and this. But after he went, every year, that's like what he allocates for vacation time and stuff, every year. But aside from, taking the road trip with Dad this year and stuff, there was one instance where a parent walked by me. We were like walking to the ultralight field or something, and they walked by me and they had their 2 little kids. I mean, they were little, but the kids watched the videos. And I got down on one knee there, and I was like talking to the kids, and they took our picture and stuff, and that was a super cool moment.
You are hooking them young, like you're getting them hooked on aviation really young. That's awesome. Well, I'm going to share my favorite OSH moment. So you guys know my husband Steve has a propensity to do like awesome and amazing things for me. And this year he really surprised me. He actually he bought one of those bricks at OSH with our name in it, and it's got inscribed Wong Warrior and everything. And it's actually got our name. And so now I'm not allowed to get mad at him because every time I do, he's like, your name's on a brick at OSH. And I'm like, but that was definitely probably my favorite moment, was like because he had been planning this for months. It took him months to do that. I don't know how he kept it a secret, to be honest.
How did he tell you about it?
Okay, so my birthday is August 2nd, and so he's like, I got a birthday present for you, but it's waiting for you at OSH. And I was like, what? Like
new airplane?
An airplane. Right. No, I kept thinking something, and I don't know why this sounds really ridiculous, but I kept thinking he was going to have something sky written or something. because it's Steve, and that's the kind of stuff that he does. And so this is even better though, because it's forever. You know, a brick at Osh's forever. Like diamonds aren't forever. A brick at Osh. And so it was the first night we got there, and he kept like rushing me, like, come on, we gotta go, we gotta go. It was Saturday night, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Nothing's even open. And he was like, no, we have to go. We gotta go do something because it's for your birthday, blah, blah, blah. What he was afraid of is he was afraid that somebody was gonna see it and be like, oh, and then post it on Facebook, like, oh, I saw, you know, the Wong Warrior, I saw the Wong's name on whatever. So he was just like, we gotta get there on Saturday, we have to go. And he walked by and he was like, he basically was like, happy birthday. You know, you've got your name.
Yay, it's a brick.
Yeah. I was like, oh, cement, awesome. No, but I mean, seriously though, it is because of me, like knowing me, I don't like actual things unless it's like a new Bose headset or something, you know, something I can use. But other than that, I like experiences and sentimental things and stuff, and that I don't know how he's going to top that. I was like, well, you've peaked. So
Next year, here's your Bose headset.
yeah, exactly. Pretty much. So awesome. Well, what would you guys say are learning lessons for anybody wanting to go to Osh next year?
Plan to get there a few days early. This year in particular, I think it was it 2012 that was the true slosh crash
yeah,
or something like
sounds
that.
right.
So my first year was 2013, so I never experienced that. This is the first year that I really saw how much the weather can affect arrivals. And if we would have flown, we would have been out of luck.
Yeah.
We would have had to figure out something. So I think next year we're going to plan to get there like Thursday.
Yeah.
Like that's what we're going
Like
to
the
aim
Thursday
for.
before, like before.
Yeah, we'll aim for that.
2
and
weeks
then,
before.
And if the weather's bad, then we'll have time to kind of figure out something else or get there before the weather.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea. Just be flexible. That's
Right, be
probably the biggest
flexible.
thing is you don't really know when you're going to get there. And this year there wasn't a problem departing, but a lot of years there's IFR and you can't get out of there. So you have issues coming in and coming out. So be flexible, have fun. Trading's an adventure. It's be flexible.
I would say two things. Know your airplane inside and out and how it operates. And then also know the NOTAM inside and out. We operate on the NOTAM. That's all we do is based on the NOTAM.
Yeah, Brian.
Bug spray and comfortable shoes. Those are the only. This year, for some reason, the bugs were a lot worse than I've experienced them in the past. And I told my dad to bring comfortable shoes. The first day he didn't. The second day he got a new pair of shoes. It's a lot of walking.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring a waterproof tent. Because
Oh, yeah.
even if you make it in, the rain will come at some point, more likely than not. And
Walmart does sell new tents, so I've heard.
Okay, so
A lot that week.
Exactly.
that's actually my learning lesson. So my learning lesson was make sure you go to the Walmart or go to the Target within the first night that you're there. I mean, stuff was selling out Sunday night. We got there, Gatorade. Like Gatorade was gone, their big packs of water was already selling out, their camping stuff was selling out. So if you get there on Saturday, go to Walmart or Target or whatever on Saturday, because they will sell out very quickly.
One other thing I learned this year, because this year I didn't camp, I got a hotel. People are booking hotels now for next year.
Oh, yeah.
It was like 4 or 5 months in advance we booked a hotel, and what we paid for this horrible hotel was like, and when the prices are escalated that much, you don't really know what quality you're getting. It was pretty scary.
Yeah.
But book your hotel today.
Same with renting houses.
Is it?
The Airbnbs and stuff, yeah, people are snagging them now.
Oh, yeah. You have to start your planning basically now for Oshkosh next
I'm
year.
actually thinking about flying in this week.
Yeah.
I don't have to deal with
It
this.
gets really cold in the winter, as I've heard in Wisconsin. It's
Bring your
a little chilly.
snowshoes.
Actually, you know what we should do is we should just get in on a group and like actually buy a house out there, and then we all have like a place to go every year without worrying about it. We just have to drive in, but
Right.
it's an idea.
yeah, exactly.
Talk to Steve about that. He could be next year's gift.
Hey, that could be how he tops it.
Bought you a house at Osh.
One brick at a time. Every year.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us on today's episode. If you like what you see, please subscribe and share and leave comments below. We'll see you next time in the hangar.